G'day, I'm Stephen Page from Page Proven Family and Fertility Lawyers, and welcome to the Australian Family and Fertility Law Podcast. What I'm talking about today is the annual news about where Australians are going for surrogacy. And in the year ended 2025, 377 Australian children were born overseas via surrogacy. That is a record number. Now, those numbers come from the Department of Home Affairs. Every child who is born overseas who born via surrogacy has to apply for Australian citizenship by descent. And the Australian government insists on knowing whether the child was born through surrogacy or not, and then compiles figures. So not only does it compile the absolute number, the total, but it also compiles where they were born. And those numbers stand out. This year, we've got a top 11. In number one place is the United States. Now, this is an absolute record number for the US, 137 children born, Australian children born via surrogacy in the US in the last financial year. That compares to last year, which was a record at 121. And in the year ended 30 June 23, just to give you a comparison, was 68. So it's really ramped up. And it's surprising to see that number because the United States is the most expensive place for Australians to undertake surrogacy. You're looking at a budget of about 300,000 Australian from beginning to end or more. Number two, and it was in second place last year as well, is the Republic of Georgia. But it's really dropped in the number of children born there. There were 48 this year. Last year there were 76, which was a record, and the year before 33, which was also a record. Why there's a sudden decrease? Well, about 18 months ago, maybe a year ago, the Georgian health minister said that they were going to ban foreigners from undertaking surrogacy. So as a result, many foreigners who would otherwise have gone to Georgia didn't go. That was never legislated. So surrogacy has restarted in Georgia, but obviously at a lower base. The third place is Colombia. Last year it was number 4, so it's up 1. Record number of Australian children born there, 38. Last year was 32, and to give a comparison, 2023 it was 12. So it's certainly on the rise. Number 5, Argentina. Now that has had an extraordinary rise compared to the 2024 year, going up 5 places from 4 to 9. Sorry, I'll get it the other way around, from 9 to 4. And 28 children born there, last year 7, and the year before 0. I think we're going to peter out. I think that's sort of a bubble that's occurred in Argentina from marketing. Argentine officials made it quite plain last year that they were going to ban all surrogacy, and from April last year there was just a crisis in Argentina about children being born there via surrogacy. I've heard stories of Australians getting stuck there for months. And number 6, Ukraine, which has gone down last year from 1, from number 5, so it's gone down 1 place. But surprisingly, there are more children born in 2025 than there were born in 2024. 23 were born in 25, 21 were born in 2024, and that compares with 2022, which of course was at the tail end year, at the beginning of the invasion in February 2022, of 43. So what we're seeing is what I've heard, which is that Ukrainian clinics are making it as easy as possible for foreigners to undertake surrogacy there because, well, no one really wants to go to Ukraine. So they're putting on all these packages. Number 7 is Canada, which has gone down 4 places. Last year it was 3. And to give a comparison, last year it peaked at 37, but this year and in 2023, it's 22 births that have happened there. Now, what I've heard from clients is that there is difficulty sourcing surrogates. in Canada. Now, maybe the last year was a one-off, but I think we're sort of at about the norm for Canada at about 22 births. Number 8, surprisingly, is Iran. It last year was tied at 10. It's tied this year with the United Kingdom in 8th place. And both were at records last year with 5 children being born this year. Both are at 6. One suspects, after the recent events with the war between Israel and Iran and the expulsion of the Iranian ambassador, that there won't be many Iranian children or many Australian children being born via surrogacy in Iran. People who undertake surrogacy in Iran are typically, from Australia, are typically Iranian diaspora. And I've not seen anyone go there who hasn't been part of that community. And for the United Kingdom, it's not Australians going to the United Kingdom. This is the UK has a large expatriate Australian community, and that would explain why there are 6 children born via surrogacy in the UK. And then finally, numbers 10 and 11, which are tied, are China and Thailand. So China has been bouncing along, typically under 5 children born a year. And a couple of years ago, it was 0. Last year, less than 5. This year, it's a record, it's 5. Thailand has also been bouncing along. 2 years ago, it was 6. Last year was 11. This year, 5. Now, both are problematic. Both are problematic. In China, the surrogate is not disclosed to the intended parents because it's illegal for the doctors to engage in surrogacy. So it can be hard for Australians to bring their children home from China unless they can identify the surrogate. And for Thailand, commercial surrogacy is banned, but nevertheless it goes on in a grey market. So very difficult. You can do surrogacy in Thailand, but you've got to be married to a Thai surrogate. There's a whole host of conditions. Thailand's looking at allowing commercial surrogacy, but it hasn't got there yet. So each of those places, China and Thailand, the Australians who go there typically are Chinese Australians who have been marketed to on Chinese social media. So it's not something that English-speaking Australians would ever see on the web. And what else do we see? Well, there's been one country that hasn't appeared at all and 2 new countries. The country that didn't appear in that top 11 was Greece. This year, less than 5 children were born in Greece via surrogacy to Australians. And it's no surprise that Greece fell out. In August 2023, there was the scandal of the Mediterranean Fertility Institute, an IVF clinic that had marketed itself to Australians, amongst others, been operating for 30 years, but then got shut down with 8 of the 10 staff members, including the owner and medical director, being charged with fraud and trafficking offences relating to surrogates. So it's no surprise that Australians have stayed away from Greece. And since May this year, Greece has changed the law that says unless you live there, you can't do surrogacy there. And that's designed to stop foreigners accessing surrogacy there and trying to avoid a repeat of what happened with Mediterranean Fertility Institute. And then finally, there are 2 new countries that have appeared on the list, and each are less than 5 births, evidently. One of them is Kyrgyzstan and one is Uganda. These are countries that recently have popped up as being surrogacy destinations, with surrogacy promoters suggesting to go to each of them. If you're thinking of undertaking surrogacy overseas, think carefully. It can be expensive. There can be issues with donations, egg donations, sperm donations that you may not have considered. And if you don't take care, you may be committing serious criminal offences dealing with commercial egg donation overseas, and in most parts of Australia with commercial surrogacy. 3 parts of Australia, the ACT, New South Wales and Queensland, make it a specific criminal offence, and they're slightly different in each place, in engaging in commercial surrogacy overseas. And 3 places make it an offence in some circumstances to do commercial surrogacy overseas, and that's Northern Territory, South Australia and Western Australia. You may think that you're in the free and clear with Tasmania and Victoria. In most parts of Australia, if the form of surrogacy overseas is that of adoption and that you have paid the expenses of the surrogate, then you commit offences under adoption legislation. So get good legal advice before you go. In my case, I've advised since 1988 as to surrogacy. My first international surrogacy journey was as long ago as 2008, and I've advised in over 2,000 surrogacy journeys, so about 4,000 clients who from every part of Australia and in 39 other countries. Thank you for watching and listening. I'm Stephen Page from Page Proven. You've been watching and listening to the Australian Family Australian Family and Fertility Law podcast. I'll get it right eventually. Thank you. See you. Bye-bye.